I'm Chris Rudolph from logo NewNowNext. Hi, Dan. How's it going?
Hey, Chris, good. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. So I thought the movie was so fun, and I wanted to know, like, what's your history with Eurovision? Like, did you used to throw viewing parties?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have done. I mean, growing up in the UK, you just know about Eurovision. It's just a thing that happens every year, like Wimbledon, and it's very much a part of life growing up in Europe. In the UK, particularly, we're used to not doing very well in the Eurovision Song Contest, but that's just part of life. And yeah, so it's really funny to me that I'm now meeting all these Americans who have got through most of their adult life without knowing what it is, and having to explain it to them is really wild.
um, you play Alexander, this gay or closeted Russian. What was your research like for that role? I thought the line where you said like, "Oh, I'm not gay, I'm Russian." I thought that was like they think. So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, we live in a world where some countries and their governments, refuse to acknowledge people's sexuality and lifestyle. They actively try and stamp it out, and so it was important to acknowledge that, and also to remember that the Eurovision has for a long time been a really safe haven and a safe space for LGBTQ people. It's got a massive fan base all over the world, and that's really something worth celebrating and worth championing, I think.
Um, and I want to ask, what was it like filming that song along in the movie, where it was like the Share Believe mashup and the Ray of Light, like and all the past Eurovision winners? Like, what was that filming like? Because I was in heaven.
Yeah, it really is. It's an incredible reward for the real super fans, I think, and it was an incredible reward for us. I think we were sort of existing in our own Eurovision bubble that we'd created with these sort of made up entrants, and then we were actively mixing with real contestants from past contests, and they were all so lovely, so excited to be a part of it, and they're all incredible singers, and to get to sing along with them in such an amazing medley of songs, incredibly arranged, and getting to stand in that circle at the end, it was really, really wild. And the crowd were with us; they were so excited to be witnessing it. It was just bonkers.
Now, how did you approach your relationship with Sigrid? Because it's not a romantic, but you want her to be your beard or something. Like, what was that?
Something like that. I mean, he obviously, he recognizes something in her. He wants her to be free. He's one of these kind of he has his own philosophy about life and about freedom and liberation, even though he's trapped in his own cage of sorts. And yeah, so it becomes a very sweet relationship. I think the way Lars sees it is obviously very different. He thinks he's this sort of Lothario coming in to sweep her away, but obviously he has kind of different motives. So yeah, it was a very sweet relationship, and Rachel was just so fun to play with, and yeah, it was great.
And then I need to talk about the Wham hair. Like, whose idea was that? Whose idea was the Wham hair?
Yeah, I mean, it was the sort of combination of Wham era George Michael and Princess Diana, I think, that sort of inspired the hair, and that was a big part of it, And yeah, we were just worked with an amazing team. Anna Shepherd, the costume designer, who has in the past designed some pretty outrageous costumes herself. She did Maleficent, for example, the original Maleficent costume. She's used to making a statement with some pretty striking things, and so yeah, the costume fitting for this was pretty wild too. But it was yeah, it was a real team effort putting Lemtov together.
Yeah, well, campy and over the top, so perfect for Eurovision. All right, thanks, Dan. I'm a big fan. Love the movie. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, man.